Now, what is the meaning of holding company? Holding company is a company which acquires more than 50% of shares from the subsidiary company. How many shares we have purchased? We have purchased 80,000 shares. Capital profit of the holding company. Add capital profit of the holding company for this 8 lakh rupees. Machinery of holding company is 6 lakh and machinery of subsidiary company is 4 lakh 50,000. Add it will become 10 lakh 50,000. Hello my dear students, I am your AJ sir, faculty Department of Commerce and Management, Vidyashram, First Year College, Mysuru, a temple of excellence. My dear students, in today's session, I am going to handle the subject Corporate Accounting 2 for the 4th SEM BCom, and the today's topic is accounting for holding company. In the previous session, we were discussing about the problems on holding company with some adjustments, and today also we are going to discuss about the holding company's problems with different types of adjustments. Now, what is the meaning of holding company? Holding company is a company which acquires more than 50% of shares from the subsidiary company. So, it is once it purchases more than 50%, so it will get the hold on the subsidiary company because it is having more than 50%. It may be voting rights, it may be board of directors. So, these type of powers will acquired by the holding company. So that's why it is called as holding company or majority company. The subsidiary company, on another hand, the subsidiary company is a company which sells the more than 50% of shares to holding company. So this company left with only minority number of shares. That's why it is called as minority company or subordinate company of holding company. It is also called as subsidiary company. Now let's go to the problem. H Limited acquired 80,000 shares at rupees 10 each on S Limited on 1/1/2008. So on 1/1/2008, S Limited acquired shares from the other company called S Limited. The summarized balance sheet of H Limited on 30th/6/2008. See, this is the end of the year. 30th/6/2008 is the end of the year. That means when the year started, see, let's look at the year. This is 1 year duration. The year ended on 30th/6/2008 means it should start on the 1/7/2007, isn't it? From 1st July to 30th June, it is 12 months, isn't it? So that's why we can assume this one year. From the year starts from 1/7/2007 to ends on 30th/6/2008. Then this holding company has purchased the shares on 1/1/2008. That means after 6 months. After 6 months of starting the year, the holding company has purchased the shares in subsidiary company. So whatever the profit before acquisition is called as capital profit, or whatever the reserve before acquisition is called as capital reserve. Coming to the post acquisition profit or reserve, whatever the profit or reserve belongs to the post acquisition or after acquisition shares from the subsidiary company, this is called as either it is revenue profit or revenue reserve. Capital profit, capital reserve. Revenue profit, revenue reserve. Pre-acquisition period, post-acquisition period. These 4 or 5 points you have to bear in your mind. Now, coming to the problem, see, this is the share capital of both the companies. So, what is the face value of each share? Each share face value is 10 rupees. So, the actual share capital is 20 lakh rupees for the holding company, 10 lakh rupees for the subsidiary company, reserve 1 lakh rupees and 1,75,000 rupees, profit and loss account 50,000, 45,000, debenture 1,75,000, no amount in the subsidiary company. Next one, creditors is 40, it is 4 lakh and 2 lakh for the subsidiary company. Next one, bills payable is 25,000 and 20,000. Coming to the asset side, machinery of the holding company is 6 lakh and subsidiary company is 4,50,000. Furniture is 20,000 and 40,000. Shares in S company, that means how many investment or how much investment made by the holding company on subsidiary company. This is the amount purchased by the holding company and invested in subsidiary company. So the holding company has invested 8,80,000 rupees on the subsidiary company. So according to the law, so whatever the investment made by the holding company on subsidiary company, or what are the shares purchased by the holding company from subsidiary company, it should be shown as an investment in the balance sheet asset side of the holding company. Please bear in your mind. Next one, stock of the holding company is 5,20,000. Here it is 6,60,000. Debtor is 1,80,000, 2,70,000. BR 10,000, 20,000. Cash in hand at bank 2,80,000, 1,75,000. Debentures is 85,000 and no amount in the subsidiary company. The total balance sheet is 25,75,000, 16,15,000. Here also 25,75,000 and 16,15,000 respectively. Now coming to the adjustment, an amount of rupees 40,000 was transferred by Yes Limited from its current year's profit to reserve. What do you mean by that? See, subsidiary company has transferred a profit worth of rupees 40,000 from its current year profit to its own reserve. So that means, see, before acquisition or before transfer, what was the amount was there? See, it is after transfer there is a 45,000. Again here also after transfer there is 1,75,000. Then if the 45,000 is after transfer, so what is the actual amount before transfer? That's what we have to identify. Now coming to profit and loss account. So this 45,000 is after transfer. 45,000 is after transfer. And before transfer, how much was there? 40,000 extra amount was there. So 40,000, it is 85,000. So before transfer, there was a 85,000 in the profit and loss account of the subsidiary company. Now coming to the reserve. Now there is a, at the end of the year, there is a 1,75,000. It is after transfer. So after transfer of 40,000 rupees, there is a 1,75,000. Then what is the amount before transfer? Let's deduct 40,000. So it will become 1,35,000. So before transfer, there was a 1,35,000 in the reserve of subsidiary company, and there was a 85,000 in the profit and loss account of the subsidiary company. And after transfer, it has become 45,000 and 1,75,000 in the reserve. I hope you are clear. Now coming to the next adjustment. Bill receivable of Yes company includes bill of rupees 10,000 acceptable by the H Limited, and creditors of the Yes Limited includes rupees 45,000 due to holding company. What do you mean by that? See, the bills receivable, see, any bills receivable or bills payable, if it is due from holding company or subsidiary company, we should consider it as a mutual adjustment. See, before acquisition, a company or holding company was a separate company and the subsidiary company was a separate company. But once the acquisition has happened, once the holding company acquired shares from subsidiary company, both company will become one and the same. That's why whatever the amount receivable or whatever the amount payable, it may be from holding company or it may be from subsidiary company, that should be considered as a mutual adjustment. So coming to the bills receivable, so add both the BR in the consolidated balance sheet, add both the BR of the holding company plus BR of the subsidiary company, deduct this 10,000 rupees as a mutual adjustment. Coming to the liability side of the balance sheet, add BP of the holding company with BP of the subsidiary company. So then deduct this 10,000 rupees as a mutual adjustment. Again coming to the creditors, it may be creditors or debitors due from the holding company or subsidiary company. Again add both the debtors of the holding company and subsidiary company in the asset side of the balance sheet. Deduct this 45,000 as a mutual adjustment. Coming to the liability side, add creditors of both the company, creditors of holding company and creditors of subsidiary company. Deduct this 45,000 as a mutual adjustment. It should be deducted in the liability side also and asset side also. Again coming to BR and BP, that should be deducted in the liability side also and also asset side also. I hope you are clear. Now let's go to the working note. So let's understand the year. Year starts from, see, look at the What is the closing date of the balance sheet? 30th 6 2008. So what is the opening date of the balance sheet? First 1/7/2007. So 1/7/2007 is the opening date and closing date is 30th 6 2008. Now, so year starts from from 1/7/2007 and ends on 30th 6 2008. So this is 12 months duration, that means 1 year. Okay, now when we have acquired the shares from the subsidiary company, see the company acquired on 1/1/2008. So we have acquired, the holding company acquired shares on 1/1/2008. That means what? After 6 months, no. So before 6 months is a pre-acquisition period. After 6 months is a post-acquisition period. So this is after 6 months. So first 6 months is pre-acquisition. And second 6 months is post-acquisition. Acquisition period. So before 6 months, 6 months is the pre-acquisition, remaining 6 months is the post-acquisition period. Now let's write the date also. So this is from 1/7/2007 to 1/7/2007 to 1/1/2008. Again, this is on 1/1/2008 to 30th 6 2008. So this is the period. Okay, so the dates, pre-acquisition period starts from 1/7/2007, ends on 1/1/2008. Again, it starts from 1/1/2008 to 30th 6 2008. Now total profit, coming to the profit, total profit it equals to, so what is the total profit before acquisition? See, look at the profit. What is our profit? Total profit is 85,000. So total profit is 85,000. So before 6 months and after 6 months. So before 6 months is, so what is the amount before 6 months? So before 6 months means divided by 2. So total profit 85,000 divided by 2. So it is 42,500. It is 42,500 is the capital profit. Remaining 42,500 is the revenue profit. I hope you are clear. See, total profit is the 85,000. We have to understand, actually in the balance sheet he has given 45,000. The actual profit is the 85,000 because the 40,000 has been transferred from profit of the subsidiary company to reserve. So the before profit there was a 85,000. So once the profit 40,000 rupees transferred from profit to reserve, it has become 45,000. But we have to take total profit before acquisition or before pre-acquisition profit. So total profit is 85,000. So if you divide for 6 months, 6 months period is the pre-acquisition, remaining 6 months is the post-acquisition. The total profit is 42,500 for the first period or first 6 months, and remaining next 6 months is 42,500. Now how much profit transferred from the post-acquisition profit? See, the 40,000 rupees has been transferred after the acquisition. On what day the profit has been transferred? See, look at the end of the year, the profit has been transferred. That means the profit should be transferred from post-acquisition reserve or post-acquisition profit. Now let's deduct this 40,000 transferred. That means there is a actual post acquisition or revenue profit is 2,500. So total profit is 85,000 before 6 months, 42,500. After 6 months, 42,500. That means 85,000 divided by 2. So you'll get 42,500 before acquisition, remaining 42,000 after acquisition. See, this 40,000 has been transferred after the acquisition. Means what? We have to deduct this 40,000 from after acquisition. That means post acquisition profit. So if you deduct this 40,000 from the post acquisition profit or revenue profit, then you'll get 2,500 rupees is the actual post acquisition profit or the revenue profit, and this 42,500 is the pre-acquisition profit. It is also called as capital profit. I hope you are clear. Now let's go to the reserve. Total reserve. Now what is the total reserve? Actual reserve was there. So it is 1,75,000. Now he is showing. But before acquisition there was 40,000 less. So before transfer this 40,000 there was only 1,35,000. After transfer it has become 1,75,000. So total reserve is 1,75,000 minus transfer. It is 40,000. Now it is 1,35,000 is the pre-acquisition reserve. It is also called as capital reserve. Pre-acquisition reserve. So this remaining 40,000, what comes at the end of the year? So it is the post-acquisition reserve or revenue reserve. See here, it will become 1,75,000 again. If you add both of this, it will become 1,75,000. So total reserve is the 1,75,000. So deduct 40,000, which is pre-acquisition or transferred. So this, if you deduct this 40,000, the actual reserve is 1,35,000. So remaining this 1,35,000 is the pre-acquisition. That means before 1/1/2008, there was a reserve of 1,35,000. So the amount has been transferred after the acquisition. That means what? So 40,000 is the post-acquisition reserve or revenue reserve. Now let's do the problem. Listen here. Now what is the total share of the subsidiary company here? So total share capital is 10 lakh rupees. Out of 10 lakh, let's convert this 10 lakh rupees into number of shares. So 10 lakh into, so divided by 10. So 1010 cancel, you will get 1 lakh shares. So there was 1 lakh shares in the subsidiary company. Now, so total number of share is 10 lakh divided by 10 equals to 1 lakh shares in the subsidiary company. How many shares we have purchased? We have purchased 80,000 shares. So look at the question. So we have purchased 80,000 shares from the subsidiary company. So once you purchase 80,000 shares, the subsidiary company will be having only 20,000 shares. Since this company is having only 20,000 shares, this company is called as subordinate company or minority company. Let's convert to ratio. So 4040 cancel. So 2 1s are 2, 4s are 8. So the ratio is 4:1. Whatever the amount you get, it may be capital reserve, revenue reserve, capital profit, revenue profit should be shared among the holding company and subsidiary company in this ratio. Now coming to the profit, the capital profit of the subsidiary company is 45,000. So there after acquisition there was a 45,000. So we have to add this transfer. So 40,000 rupees has transferred from profit to reserve. So we have to identify what is the actual profit. So it is, once you add this 40,000, it will become 85,000. So out of 85,000, 6 months, that means half of the amount is the revenue profit, remaining half of the capital profit. So here the actual capital profit is 42,500. So out of 42,500, so look at calculate the ratio. So total 42,500 out of 42,000. So 4/5 of the profit, capital profit should goes to holding company. 1/5 of the capital profit should goes to subsidiary company. So 80, it is 42,500. Let's write here 42,500 into 4 by 5. So how I am doing 4 by 5 means, see 4 plus 1 equals to this one 5. That means 4 by 5 is to 1 by 5. Okay. So 4 by 5 equals to, so you'll get this amount 34,000. Again 42,500 into 1 by 4, you'll get 8,500. So both the company will share the capital profit. Now coming to the revenue profit. So what is the total revenue profit? 42,500. Out of 42,500, how much amount we have transferred? We have transferred 40,000 from the profit of the subsidiary company to its reserve. So now it will become 2,500 is the actual revenue profit. So actual revenue profit is the 2,500. Out of 2,500, again they will divide the amount according to their shares. 2,500 into 4/5 equals to, so 2,500 into 4 divided by 5 equals to 2,000 will goes to holding company, remaining 500 will goes to subsidiary company into 1 by 5 equals to 500. So this 500 goes to subsidiary company. Now coming to the reserve. So company is having, the subsidiary company is having 1,75,000 as the reserve. So it is at the end of the year. Then what is the actual reserve? We have to identify. So deduct this 40,000. If you deduct this 40,000 which is transferred from the profit and loss account of subsidiary company to its reserve, so you'll get 1,35,000. This is the actual reserve. It is the capital reserve is 1,35,000. So out of capital reserve, both the company will share their reserve. So 1,35,000 into 4 by 5 equals to 1,08,000. Again coming to 1,35,000 into 1 by 5 equals to 27,000. It is the S company's shares. Now coming to the remaining amount, this 40,000 is the revenue reserve. This amount also should be shared among the both the company. 40,000 into 4 by 5 equals to 32,000. Again 40,000 into 1 by 5 equals to 8,000. So I hope you are clear. Total, again I am repeating once again. Please listen. Now total number of shares is 1 lakh shares. Out of 1 lakh shares, holding company has purchased 80,000 shares. The subsidiary company remains with 20,000 shares. If you convert the shares to ratio, it is 4:1 ratio. So whatever the amount is there, both the subsidiary company and holding company has to divide according to the 1:4 ratio. Now total profit is the, in the balance sheet, according to balance sheet there is a 45,000 in the profit and loss account of the subsidiary company. So it is after transfer. So before transfer we have to add the 40,000. There was a profit which has been transferred from the subsidiary company's profit and loss account to its reserve. So we have to add back the profit, that 40,000. It will become 85,000. The actual profit is 85,000. Out of 85,000, before acquisition is 6 months, after acquisition is 6 months. Before acquisition is, that means divide 85,000 divided by 2 equals to 42,500 is the 6 months profit. That means capital profit. Remaining 42,500 is the revenue profit. Out of capital profit 42,500, both the company will divide their share of profit. Again coming to the revenue profit is 42,500. Out of 42,500, 40,000 has been transferred. Why we are deducting this 40,000 from the revenue profit means the 40,000 has been transferred after acquisition. On the date of 1/1/2008, that amount has been transferred. That's why we assume this 40,000 has been transferred after acquisition. So 40,000 is transferred. Now the total revenue profit is the 2,500. Out of 2,500, both the company will get their share 2,500. Coming to the total reserve. Total reserve according to balance sheet is 1,75,000. Out of 1,75,000, before transfer there was a 1,35,000. So deduct this transfer of 40,000. Now you will get the 1,35,000. Out of 1,35,000, both the company will share their reserve. This is called as capital reserve. Remaining 40,000 which has been transferred after 1/1/2008, and that means after acquisition, then it is called as revenue reserve. So again, revenue reserve will be distributed among both the companies. It is 32,000 and 8,000. Now let's calculate the minority interest. Add this face value of share, capital profit, revenue profit, capital reserve, revenue reserve. So you'll get 2,44,000 is the total minority interest. If you add this amount, you'll get majority interest, but we need not any majority interest or in the calculation of the problem or in the balance sheet. Minority interest is enough. Now let's go to the calculation of goodwill or capital reserve. Now calculation of goodwill or capital reserve. Cost of investment, which means what? The actual investment by the holding company in subsidiary company. So look at the balance sheet. So what is the investment here? 8,80,000 is the investment. So let's write 8,80,000. Now what is the face value of share? See how many shares we have purchased? 80,000 shares we have purchased. Into what is the face value of each share? It is 10 rupees. So then it is 8 lakh rupees is our actual face value of share. This much money we have to pay to the subsidiary company, but we have paid more or less. Let's see. Now capital profit of the holding company. Add capital profit of the holding company for this 8 lakh rupees. So what is the capital profit here? It is 34,000. Again add the capital reserve of the holding company. So what is the capital reserve? 1,08,000 is the capital reserve. So if you add all three amount, so you'll get 9,42,000. See here, the actual cost of the investment is 8,80,000 rupees we have paid. But what is the amount we are getting back, or what is the benefit we are getting is 9,42,000 worth of benefit we are getting as a holding company. Even though we are paying 62,000 rupees lesser than actual investment. So actual investment should be 9,42,000, but we have paid lesser amount. So 62,000 is the negative balance. If you get negative balance, it should be considered as a capital reserve is a law. Next, coming to the, if you get the positive balance, if you pay more than its face value or more than its actual value, then it should be considered as a goodwill. If you pay lesser than its actual value, then it should be considered as the capital reserve. This amount should be added to the capital reserve in the liability side of the consolidated balance sheet. See, when the total amount is negative, this amount is negative, it should be considered as a capital reserve and should be shown in the liability side of the balance sheet. Now coming to the consolidated balance sheet, first look at the liability side because it is a vertical form of balance sheet we are doing. Now coming to the share capital of H company, see subsidiary company shares already distributed. Some of shares we have purchased, remaining shares amount will be paid as a minority interest. That's why the holding or subsidiary company shares will not be shown here. So total share capital of holding company is 20 lakh and the total reserve of the holding company, coming to the balance sheet here. So total reserve is 1 lakh rupees. Add the revenue reserve. So capital reserve and capital profit has been added in the calculation of goodwill or capital reserve. So revenue profit and the revenue reserve should be added in the liability side of the balance sheet. Add the revenue reserve of the holding company. Again add excess capital reserve here. See here. So excess capital reserve we have got 62,000. Add this 62,000, you will get 1,94,000 as a total reserve. Coming to the profit of the holding company, you should add revenue profit also. So it is 50,000 is the actual profit. See, look at the profit 50,000. Again for this add the revenue profit. So coming to the revenue profit, add the revenue profit 2000. So you'll get 52,000. Next one. Now coming to the debenture. So debenture of 9% debentures of the holding company is 1,75,000 less 9% debenture of subsidiary company, which is given in the asset side. See, look at the question. See, we are having 9% debenture in the holding company 85,000. Again, we have negative balance in the 1,85,000 debenture. Again, we are having negative balance of 1,75,000 debenture. So total debenture is 1,75,000. This 85,000 direct in the asset side of the debenture. Deduct this 85,000 from 1,75,000 as a mutual adjustment. So if you deduct 85,000, you'll get 90,000. Again, coming to the creditors. Creditors of the holding company is 4 lakh and creditors of the subsidiary company is 2 lakh. Deduct the mutual adjustment. What we are having in the adjustments. See, creditors, total creditors of the holding company is 40,000 for 4 lakh and total creditors of the subsidiary company is 2 lakh and deduct this mutual adjustment 45,000. Now coming to the bills payable, 25,000 is the total bills payable of the holding company, 20,000 is the bills payable of the subsidiary company. Again, deduct this mutual adjustment of rupees 10,000. So let's look at the problem here. So total BP of the holding company is 25,000, BP of the subsidiary company is 20,000. So deduct this 10,000 rupees as a mutual adjustment. So we'll get 35,000 and show this minority interest. What we have calculated minority interest. So 2,44,000 as the minority interest should be shown in the liability side of the balance sheet. Now coming to the asset side. Machinery of holding company is 6 lakh and machinery of subsidiary company is 4,50,000. Add it will become 10,50,000. Next one, furniture of holding company 20,000 and subsidiary company is 40,000. Total it is 60,000. Next one, stock of holding company is 5,20,000. Add the subsidiary company's stock 6,60,000. The stock of holding company is 5,20,000. Add the stock of subsidiary company 6,60,000. It will become 11,80,000. Next one, debtors of holding company is 1,80,000 and debtors of subsidiary company is 2,70,000. Deduct mutual adjustment 45,000. You'll get 4,05,000. Next, coming to the BR of the holding company is 10,000 and BR of the subsidiary company is 20,000. Add it, deduct the mutual adjustment 10,000. Again, you'll get 20,000. Next one, cash of the holding company is 2,80,000. Again, cash of the subsidiary company is 1,75,000. Add it, you will get 4,55,500. Now the total of the balance sheet is 31,70,000. In the liability side also 31,75,000. What we are doing here is we are consolidating the balance sheet. So how to consolidate the balance sheet? So we have to make it one balance sheet. So taking the amount or taking the assets of the holding company and also taking the assets of the subsidiary company and add both assets, it will become one and the same. This is what the concept of consolidated balance sheet. Now going to the next slide. So in the next session, we are going to discuss on one more problem on holding company. So with different types of adjustment. Till then, thank you so much. See you in the next session.